A couple of months ago, when we were in Cambodia, life suddenly got a bit overwhelming. We had been doing too much and we were totally stressed out. We realized that one of the reasons was the fact that our brains are constantly overwhelmed by all these devices that are begging for our attention, all these apps that are trying to influence our thoughts and emotions, and that create such a big fear of missing out. Our solution at the time was pretty simple. We just went to a remote island and disconnected from the outside world until our batteries were recharged. Ever since that moment, we have been thinking about how we can avoid that this happens to us again, and how we can reduce the online noise that we expose ourselves to on a daily basis without always having to find a remote island. Are you ready?
Yeah, ready.
For the next 3 days, we're going to try to figure out what life looks like without our minds being constantly occupied by social media and by the internet, and without all those millions of impulses.
It's gonna be so boring.
We are Nick and Linz. For the last 5 years, we have been traveling to some of the most amazing nature places on the planet. And now we embarked on an epic journey to experience naturism in every continent of the world. Subscribe and travel along with us. Right now we are in Mexico.
Before we start this experiment, I think we need to set some ground rules. Internet? Obviously no. Games? Obviously no. Reading? Yeah, it's difficult because we are using an e-reader because we don't have actual books anymore, but yeah, there is no internet on it, so...
It's a screen,
yeah.
But it's a good screen.
I think it's a go, all right. Music? No.
Not gonna be possible, we only have Spotify.
Yeah, true, so definitely a no. Emergency, check. Work?
That's a tricky one.
Yeah.
If we postpone it, we will just get more stressed thinking about the things we have to do in the future, and the whole reason of this experiment is to reduce stress. So I think offline work should be allowed.
Yes, definitely agree. And then I have one other point, and that is alcohol, because I truly believe that alcohol can be an escape. So what do we do with beers?
If we get drunk all day, it would make this too easy.
Yeah, that's true.
You can put a limit on it.
Yeah, what do you think?
2 beers a day?
2 beers a day. It's a deal.
So, what do we do now? What do you do when you suddenly don't have internet anymore? For a content creator, work never stops, and it's not that there was so much else to do. What we immediately realized was how easy we found our focus. When we normally open up our computer, there's YouTube and Instagram begging for attention, there are new emails and tweets rolling in, and before you know it, you've spent the first hour doing nothing of what you were supposed to do in the first place. But it didn't take long before we started missing the internet.
What is it again? The breakfast dish that you have with green sauce or red sauce and cheese and nachos and...
I know.
What is it again? Yeah. We recently took a Yes Theory masterclass about filmmaking, and one of the tips that they gave us was to mind map, to come up with creative ideas about new YouTube videos. And you're not supposed to use the internet, but we normally do because it's just so convenient. But yeah, now that we need it...
What is it?
What is it?
Now we would have to totally rely on our own creativity, and I gotta say that it took us into roads that we may have not thought about if we had done this the easy way. Our process for designing a thumbnail was completely turned upside down. Normally we just scroll to the YouTube homepage to get inspiration and to see what others have done. But more often than not, we just end up discouraged because we're just not that good as all the big YouTubers. Creativity is like a muscle that needs constant training. Just like many other things, it's not easy in the beginning, but the more you practice, the easier new perspective starts flowing.
Okay, what else? What else do we know about Mexican food?
Where do we find Mexican food? Supermarket.
The idea to go to the supermarket was a spark of creativity on itself, because we never had thought about it if we could use the internet for inspiration. Maybe it wasn't the best idea because we didn't leave all that enlightened, but at least we had dinner for tonight.
What's already annoying me tremendously about this experiment is that today is a Sunday. We published a video this morning, and normally I would be checking the statistics every other minute or so, and now I have no idea how it's going. Maybe it's gone viral by now, and we just don't know. It's gonna take 2 more days before we know. It's a strange feeling to not know what's happening in the rest of the world, to only know what your eyes can see. But it's also very scary to feel how much we are addicted to this information, because in the end, whether we know now how this video is doing or in 2 days isn't really gonna change a thing. With no information, no social media and no Netflix, we just decided to call it a day. It's 6:30 in the morning and Linz is still asleep.
Linz was still asleep.
And it's not unusual that I wake up at this time, and what I normally do is just take my phone and read the newspaper and my mails and Facebook and Instagram. But I'm not really sure what I should do now. Apparently I fell back asleep. This almost never happens. How did you sleep?
I'm not gonna say that I slept particularly better after a day of detox, but yeah, it's only been day 2, so we'll see tomorrow. What I did notice was that we got into focus on work yesterday so much quicker and so much easier because we didn't have any distractions from internet. That was really cool.
We could just spend the next days getting a lot of work done, but that's not what this experiment is all about. Today we're going to figure out what it's like to be in a foreign city while we're disconnected. One thing we immediately realized is how quickly we were ready to go. There were no distractions to keep us inside longer than needed. To make this experience even more challenging, we decided to do it in Cancun in Mexico, a city with very few distractions for us. This is a very touristy place with plenty of hotels and malls, but there is very little culture. There are no museums, art galleries, or historical monuments to visit. At least not inside the city. Further away are some of the most magnificent ancient Maya ruins, but to get there, we would need an Uber. So the only thing that's left for us to do is just walk around. But how will we know where we are going without Google Maps?
But we are prepared. We have an app called Maps.me. It's not as accurate as Google Maps, but it definitely does the trick. And you see, in Europe or in Asia, we would just choose to wander around aimlessly. But this is still Mexico, and even though Cancun is quite safe, it's still Mexico, so we have to be a little bit careful. Linz just went to the toilet and I almost automatically reached for my phone. Our brains have gotten so used to being occupied all the time that even a short empty moment feels strange and uncomfortable. It's interesting to realize that whenever life gives us time to enjoy the moment, we basically just spend it trying to live the lives of others. This is my favorite place in Cancun, just because it looks so very Mexican. And normally what we would do is we would just sit here and watch the people, and then after a minute or so you see this cool scene for a picture. So you take the picture and then you start uploading it to Instagram story, and before you know it, you're just scrolling through the feeds, you're looking at your phone and you totally forget in what a cool place you are. Today is day 3 of no internet and no entertainment, and I have to say I don't really miss games or music or Netflix, But I do seem to have an issue with social media. And I'm not sure if it's because of the work we are doing, because everybody says that digital detox should give you less stress, but I have the feeling that I get even more stress just not knowing what's going on with our content. By the way, I'm not acting weird here. There is a mirror in front of me. I do feel like I have a lot more free space in my head. Normally the space would be occupied by useless stuff that I saw online, and now I can suddenly fill it up with fresh ideas and thoughts, but it doesn't seem to weigh up to what I think I'm missing. I would love to say that I can easily quit, but that I just don't want to, but that's of course also what drug addicts and alcoholics say. There have been so many times when I reached for my phone for no specific reason, just to fill a little moment of emptiness. Having absolutely nothing to do is not something that I'm used to anymore. I definitely recognize that this is a sign of addiction. Whenever my brain thinks that there's a slight chance that I might get bored, it will automatically make me grab for my phone, and that is really not okay. How do you feel on our last day of digital detox?
Honestly, I think it's a pity that it's already our last day, because I feel that 3 days is just not enough to get a real sense of the detox, but we just can't keep it any longer because we have so much to organize, so we need to stop.
I don't miss social media at all, but I do miss email and WhatsApp. Email mostly professional because we have some very important collaborations in the pipeline, and WhatsApp to connect with home. The reason why I feel okay being away from family the whole year is just because I can easily connect with them wherever I am. Something that I do very much notice already is that being disconnected helps me finding ways to come up with new ideas.
Okay, so now we know. Chilaquiles was a word that we were searching for for days.
While the internet can give you thousands of updates per second, it's always a bit the same. Forcing ourselves to be creative in different ways will definitely have a positive effect on our content.
Even in such a short period of time, I think we very much realized that we may not have the healthiest relationship with the internet. But of course, our work is based around it, so total disconnect is also not the answer. I think that thanks to this experiment, we will be more thoughtful about creating a balance between the internet and real life. And who knows what kind of influence this will have on our future content.
Or what epiphanies that we will have.
This is something you will see in our next videos, so if you don't want to miss that,
make sure to subscribe to this channel, and if you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, and we just see you next week. Bye!
No, I'm joking. We still have 1 day left.